Hello there. Welcome to the first episode of Lay Summaries. We summarize academic work you don't have time to read. Today's episode comes from a book called Ideology and Architecture in Eastern Europe During the Stalin Era, by a Swedish historian named
Anders Åman.
He studies art, architecture and life in Central and Eastern Europe. Scholars like to argue over who is Central and who is Eastern, but for the purposes of this video, we mean the former Eastern Bloc states of the Soviet Union. Historically, this region has been subject to rule from outside empire. This area, from East Berlin to Moscow, was absorbed into the Soviet Empire after World War II and cut off from Western Europe by a figurative Iron Curtain of totalitarian communism. After the war, the Soviet Union got serious about extending its influence. Berlin was partitioned with a Soviet zone in the east, and in 1949 the puppet state German Democratic Republic was created. This was done in hopes of welding together Eastern Europe into a homogeneous ideological bloc. In the early 1950s, the Soviet Union entered a period of austerity. The standard of living improved less rapidly, and an economic focus on heavy industry left few consumer products for people to buy, apart from essentials. The USSR needed propaganda to keep citizens loyal, and to have them buy into this system despite some of its obvious shortcomings. This led to a proliferation of Soviet emblems, with the star, hammer, sickle, and wheat icons appearing ubiquitously throughout the empire on everyday products such as stamps and banknotes. There was also an intensification of the infamous cult of Stalin. He was portrayed in art and media as a genius of the working class, the life-giving force of socialism, and as always having been at Lenin's side, as the man who was destined to take over. The image of Stalin was inescapable, much like the autocratic republics his citizens lived in. As the cult of Stalin gained new steam, mass participation of the citizenry became a major focus, as well as a wider distribution of posters, statues, busts, books, and film recordings, all venerating Stalin. Art at the time was made and judged by a style called socialist realism. Socialist realism purports to give a real and untainted account of traditional living in the Soviet Union, often contrasted against the decadence and soullessness of the United States. Beautiful in their own right, these works of art also served as a form of propaganda. Part of the idea behind socialist realism was to convince Soviet citizens that they had it so much better than people living in Western democracies. Soviet communism, very good. Western democracy, not good.
Рубль становится самой твердой валютой. Не раздумывая, меняют иностранные представители. Один американский доллар на 65 полновесных советских копеек.
When Stalin died in 1953, it marked the end of an era. Decades of widespread iconography meant that many citizens felt a close, personal connection to him, and were dismayed at the loss of their longtime leader. Despite him being a repressive dictator who terrorized his citizens, people would miss Stalin because of the perceived unity and prosperity he brought to the USSR. Political thinkers in the West thought this might spell the end of the Soviet Union. But as it would turn out, Russia and the USSR would face no shortage of competent, autocratic, strongman leaders with hopes of sustaining the massive Soviet Empire.
Нет больше так называемой свободы личности.
If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more spine-tingling adventures of Lay Summary.